Teachers and students will be subject to random weekly testing when school starts. The Onondaga County made that announcement today, hoping to reduce the spread of COVID in schools. It applies to public, private, or charter K through 12 schools. But these tests should not be relied on for the weekly testing that is a requirement for teachers who are unvaccinated. And schools will need to keep track of who's vaccinated and who isn't. CBS 5's Jonathan Singh is with the Live Eye in Syracuse tonight.
Michael, good evening to you. Any unvaccinated teacher in the Syracuse City School District has 6 days to get the vaccine. If they choose not to, well, then they'll be subjected to weekly testing. Now, that testing will not be done in the school. That teacher will have to do the test on their own time, and it's also their job to report the results to the school before they can get back into the classroom. Those teachers also have to pay for those tests out of their own wallet. All teachers in central New York have a choice: get vaccinated or get tested every week. In the Syracuse City School District, teachers will have to get tested on their own each week, then prove their test was negative in order to return to the classroom. Nicole Capsello is the president of the Syracuse Teachers Association. She says this puts pressure on unvaccinated teachers.
The fact that they have to go seek it out and then be able to get the results and then get the results back to the district, it makes it very difficult.
If the teacher doesn't get their results back to the school in time, they will not be allowed back in the building, which means that teacher will not get paid for that day.
The district is saying that it is an unpaid absence.
The Syracuse Teachers Association says Onondaga County needs to open up more testing sites to avoid a backlog of results.
The other problem we're facing is there are not enough appointments or tests in the county. So people have not had success getting an appointment to get tested.
Onondaga County Executive Ryan McMahon says teachers have the resources they need to get tested through community sites. He said school districts can set up programs with the county for weekly testing, but testing is pricey for the county at $20 a test, and the county would have districts pay for that. McMahon says these teachers made the choice to take the weekly testing option.
You, the adult, had a choice. You, the adult, if you work in a school district, were able to be almost first in line for the vaccine. So you, the adult, need to go the extra mile if you've chosen that choice of the vaccine wasn't the right choice for you.
One parent I spoke to would like to see all teachers take the vaccination route.
I believe that it should be mandatory for the teachers to actually have the vaccination for them to work. Because you got to remember, we're dealing with more than just one child. You're dealing with random children on a daily basis, walking through hallways at school, and my child can't be safe when he's at risk.
You know, most children will be returning to the classroom next week sometime, some a little bit after that, but they'll be relying a lot less on technology this school year compared to last.
So what are schools planning to do with all of that tech that they invested in so much during the pandemic? We sent our Tony Black to talk to district leaders to find out.
Something that we had to do to get through the pandemic.
It was a switch from a classroom desk to a kitchen chair for students across central New York. The COVID-19 pandemic bringing school home for the past year and a half.
It got us through a pandemic and enabled us to connect with students who couldn't come to school last year.
What got them through? Technology, a purchase districts had to make to continue education.
We got in several more Chromebooks to deploy out to remote learners.
Superintendent Rob Price says the Onondaga Central School District purchased around $200,000 worth of technology for remote learning. Things like hotspots and cameras.
Headphones for staff, headphones and microphones for students.
The Liverpool Central School District having to acquire more equipment too.
We provided, in many cases, headsets for kids because we wanted to minimize the disruption in homes.
The district had a Chromebook assigned to almost every student before the pandemic, making the switch to remote a little easier. Superintendent Dr. Mark Potter says grant money helped them get hotspots to families that needed them.
Things that we thought that at that time, what did we need?
All that technology for remote learning. With kids returning to full in-person education, where does it all go?
The technology that we purchased will be utilized in the classrooms.
Superintendent Price says the students can still use things like the cameras for projects and recorded assignments.
We'll still use that video capability.
Families in the Liverpool district that still need help getting internet access will get assistance from the district.
We will continue to support those families with connectivity.
The technology that was at home now finding a place in school to give kids a better education.
It was worth it, and we're going to continue to use them.
More officers are leaving the Syracuse Police Department. The police union calls it a crisis. The department now cutting back on several special units to reassign those officers to street patrols. CBS 5's Melanie Johnson talked with department leaders today.
A mass exodus of Syracuse police officers continues, 10 leaving the department in the last month.
We're losing a lot of good officers.
Deciding to retire from the force or transfer to another local police agency.
There's a lot of times that these patrol officers on the street don't feel that community support, and they get out on calls. People are aggressive with them, yelling at them, shoving cameras in their faces while they're trying to solve the crime. They can go to another community and not have to face those same challenges, and they get that support.
SPD temporarily getting rid of the K-9 unit and a special team responsible for taking dozens of illegal guns and criminals off the streets, all because they don't have the manpower to police the inner city. These officers are now reassigned to neighborhood patrols. 911 calls taking longer to get to because of staff shortages. People waiting hours for police to arrive.
You have people waiting multiple hours, whether it's for a motor vehicle collision, a property complaint, and then any sort of investigation like a burglary.
The lack of officers taking a toll on recruitment, too.
Having officers being present in the community, and it's definitely something that we love to do, but just because of staffing shortages, it's just not a realistic option right now.
SPD hoping to find new officers by expanding their territory in schools and even beyond the city through the military.
We're going to local colleges. We're going up to Fort Drum. We're working with the Air National Guard.
As the first Asian American Syracuse police officer, Sergeant Tom is calling for more minorities to join the force.
The only way we're going to change things if we get more people involved in making the change happen. And that's why we should have people of color want to be here, because there's strength in numbers.
SPD tells me the staffing shortage may not last long. They are expecting a new class to graduate from the academy in January. They're hoping to fill at least 30 positions.